Hi, welcome to Bogy and Dave. I'm your co-host Dave. I'm joined by my co-host, as I affectionately call him, as Bogy. Before we get into a lot of the intrigues that are going on over the last week, I want to tell the people out there, be very careful of your bills that you're getting, your utility bills for your cell phone, your insurance bills, because I have found, and many others that I know have also found, that insurance companies on your homeowners are valuing your house and charging you an insurance premium that is not in line with today's market value of your home. So go back and take a look at it. I myself did, and I ended up saving myself $700 of my insurance premium because they had my house valued 3 times the amount of money of its real market value. So that's a little tip. And look at every single bill you get because they are sliding things through because people they know today don't have the time, they're frustrated, and they're not looking at their bills as they should. So there's a tip. College students in Emory College. Oh my God, the snowflakes in Emory College. I refer to these kids, right? They came upon a chalk scribbled on the sidewalk, Trump 2016. So they immediately went into this meltdown and said that they didn't feel safe at the college. They felt as though there was no safe place for them to go. And now the college, Emory College, is now looking into any student that seems to have a conservative viewpoint, because these little snowflakes there at a $68,000 a year college or some crazy number like that feels unsafe because somebody chalked on the sidewalk, written in chalk, to Trump 2016. You know, and the college reacts to that.
I don't understand that. I mean, so it's okay to have the Ferguson protests and the Baltimore protests where they riot in Chicago,
sure. Block roads.
Gangs in Chicago.
Yeah.
But they react to Trump?
They reacted.
I think that's manufactured.
They reacted to, they showed the kids, in the picture of the kids on the website, of them talking to the administration at Emory College, saying that they just felt unsafe. Kids were crying. Unsafe.
What would they do if they were ever in the Middle East where they're beheading Christians?
I have no idea, but I guess...
If they're unsafe over that, they'd drop if they were in the Middle East.
If the administration had any common sense, they would tell these kids, grow up or go home. You know, it's chalk on the sidewalk, really. You know, and nobody touched them, nobody accosted them, nobody even said to them, we want you to vote for Trump. It was written on the sidewalk. So my God, I hope they don't see a heart, in a tree, carved in a tree, a heart or something, from years ago, and they're gonna, want the tree cut down because they feel unsafe. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. We reached a point of absurdity. You can jump in, but.
No, I like the word absurdity.
People wonder why Trump's winning and why people, anybody with any common sense, I'm not going to tell anybody really who to vote for, but I will tell you who not to vote for.
Well, look what happened in Brussels.
Yes.
Really?
Okay, right. And look at the reaction, okay? Hillary gets up there and makes a canned speech that we got to stand with our
she arguably led to the rise of ISIS.
Exactly.
with the administration she was part of.
Right.
That her husband slammed as the awful legacy, quote unquote, the awful legacy of the last 8 years. Bill Clinton said that 3 days ago.
Right. And Chelsea Clinton just came out today in a video. It was either today or yesterday, but it was posted today, where she said that how Obamacare is costing jobs, full-time jobs, and turning them into part-time jobs, and the cost is just out of control.
But Hillary said she's going to continue Obamacare.
Well, what Chelsea also said was hopefully her mother's going to get in there and bring about Hillary Care and change it around. So that's the administration that Hillary promoted for the last 8 years or 7 years, and now she wants to run on that legacy. So I'm not going to tell you who to vote for.
And she was indicted through.
Right. Well,
in other words, she committed actions as a member of that administration that could lead to her, a possible indictment. Right?
A possible indictment, which I still don't think they will because they're not going to indict her as they did Petraeus and as they did Scooter Libby. And, I can go on and on and on because if you take a look, I'll talk about it later on, but, at least, like I said, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I'm going to tell you who not to vote for. and whatever, do not vote for this woman. Do not put this person in office of this country, because it's shameful. She's, in my opinion, she should be in prison. Okay, but Ted Cruz, okay, took the prize for his stupid remark regarding Brussels, with his call for the U.S. law enforcement to patrol and secure Muslim neighborhoods. Okay. Excuse me, Ted, but you can't do something like that. It's a ridiculous remark. What Trump is saying is he goes back to, before we start letting all of these Muslims into the country, the ones that have been displaced out of Syria, we need to take a look at our plan. How we're going to let them in. And, we have to do it carefully, because we don't know what we're getting. I mean, it's been proven over in Europe, in Germany, and in Brussels, that it's really, really bad. This week we had 4 illegal immigrants gang rape a young girl in Boston.
Hate hearing that.
It's horrible.
Hate it.
The Republicans need to wake up and realize that Trump's triumph is not due to some drunken delusion by a benighted, rabble-rousing group of people, okay? But it is a direct result of the proven weaknesses of the candidates for the last 20, 30 years.
Well, I
the
think
frustration that we, the people, feel.
It's a reflection of the weakness of both parties, to be honest with you. The leadership of this country, going back 20, 30 years, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, somebody asked me, they said, why do you think Jeb Bush didn't succeed? He had tons of money. It's because Jeb Bush wasn't ready. I mean, he wasn't ready, and I think the country has had it with all of these families that feel that they're entitled to power positions in our country. The Kennedys, the Clintons, the Bushes, you can go on and on.
And let's not forget how the Bushes operate in families like the Bushes, going back to, the merchant bankers also, the Rothschilds, the
Rockefeller, Rothschild, sure.
The Hombroses, when Trump was speaking at one of the debates, the one that George Bush Sr. was in attendance at, George Bush Sr. gave the cutthroat sign, which is also resonates with secret societies as well. Yeah. And this is on video. People can go to YouTube and see him do it, because many people, it actually alarmed quite a few people. And they posted it, and they said, look at this, George Bush Sr. doing the cutthroat while while Trump was speaking.
Yeah.
That signifies quite a bit with regards to what has been gripping this country, the program that has been gripping this country for the last 20, 30 years. This has been concerted. This is real. Whether you want to call it a shadow government, whether you want to call it a government that has had ulterior motives, whatever you want to call it, it is in existence, and where we are seeing this. And there are people starting to talk about black sites, as in black government, black ops sites.
You're not talking about torture sites.
No. Oh, well, it may happen there. I don't know.
Because when you refer to a black site, the first thing I think of are usually out of the country.
This is black ops. No, these are in country.
Okay.
Black ops sites. People are talking about that now. And that the government is ready for civil unrest, civil uprisings. Uh-huh. So, and we are starting to see those. We saw them in Ferguson. We saw them in Baltimore. We're seeing them, with the Occupy movements. We're seeing them at some of these rallies. However, I think that, in the case of Trump, I don't know what to say. I do believe that you don't go looking for trouble. And yes, while some of the Trump supporters may be vehemently overzealous, you don't go there and try and incite them.
No.
You don't go looking for trouble. I mean, you're taught that when you're 5 years old. Don't go looking for trouble. And yet now you have these counter anti-Trump protesters who are funded by George Soros, who should not even be in this country. Right. He shouldn't even be allowed to remain in this country, who is funding the MoveOn.org protest movements, and they're inciting violence. But no one's saying, Soros, you're inciting violence. They're saying, Trump, you're inciting violence.
They're
How is
blaming
he
Trump.
inciting violence
Once
when
again, they're blaming
these
the
are
victim.
his supporters, and you have people who want to incite violence and counter these protests? You know, it's, as you said earlier, it's absurd, absurd. And the thing is that I read that the irregularities in the Utah caucus, this guy shows up, walks into a room, casts his vote in a box, one vote. He's about to leave, and he looks and he sees somebody with 50 votes. They have 50 ballots in their hand, 5-0. Those all found their way into the box, too. Now, what I find interesting is that here's Trump commanding nearly 46 to 50% of the vote in all the primaries overall, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, he gets trounced in Utah. Now, I expected him to lose Utah, but not with just, what is it, 18% of the vote?
Yeah.
No. Sorry. Something's going on there. And guess who was running the online, guess who owned the company that was tallying the online votes for Utah?
It was either somebody that works for Soros or one of his relatives.
You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Soros connection.
Soros connection, right? That's running that, and then you have. I'm ashamed to say that I voted for Romney at one point. He has demonstrated that he is a complete and utter idiot. I mean,
I have no respect for him.
I have none, zero respect. He should just go to his mansion wherever it is.
Now, I'll tell you what.
And just shut the door.
On the flip side,
rot away.
On the flip side,
Yeah.
I said this before on the show. I feel bad for O'Malley, who ran on the Democratic side.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for Sanders. When Sanders should not be having to face primaries where he's winning and Hillary's still getting more delegates than he is.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
He lost every coin flip, 7 coin flips, plus he lost the card draw.
Coin flips.
I mean,
Coin flips.
that's almost impossible.
Let's go back to recess.
Yeah.
Let's go back to kindergarten and have recess.
Yeah.
Let's do a coin flip.
Yeah.
These are grown adults, and they're deciding primaries with a coin flip?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The fact that they're doing that is bad enough, but then they turn around and they get all 7 coin flips when she won.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you something. Do you hear anybody from the Democratic establishment, any Democratic senators coming forward and standing up for their own? They're just letting these things play out because Hillary is the choice. Yeah. Behind closed doors, all right, Hillary, it's your turn.
Yeah, because none of them
it's her turn.
Have the competency to think outside of the box and
think
for
themselves. Yeah, but how about morality? How about morality? See, here's the thing that politicians today don't understand, okay? If they think that our time is not going to be reviewed by historians 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years later when their grandchildren are alive,
to hear
how they acted, totally immoral,
right?
Totally unethical, with utter lack of integrity, that deals were made so people wouldn't go to jail. Deals were made so there wouldn't be any indictments. Not for the better of the country, for the better of a government.
Right. For those people to continue to be pigs at the trough at our expense.
If politicians were honest, when they saw or when they see a fellow politician acting out in a manner that lacks extreme integrity or integrity at any level, they should all stand up and call that individual on their actions.
There was something that kind of stood out that I was thinking about, was that 3 people that come to mind over the last 20 years that have run for office that were not part of the political establishment were all marginalized and fingered to be just off the wall, ignore them, they're no good. Started with Ross Perot. Ross Perot's words were, if you vote for NAFTA, the sucking noise of jobs going overseas is going to be heard loud and clear.
He was
what
a
did they say
businessman.
about Perot? They said that he was nuts, that he was to be ignored, and he ended up costing Bush the election, which got us 4 years of Clinton, okay? Ross Perot. Now let's go move a little bit further down the line. Who comes along? Herman Cain, okay? Black businessman, African American. Isn't this what the Democrats want? They want a little bit of, racial equality. Well, here he is, Herman Cain, businessman, came up from nothing, made a business empire, right?
Smart
They
man.
marginalized him. They called him cheating on his wife, and that went away real quick. After he got out of the race, you know, he said he wasn't going to take it. He gets out of the race. Now, come along. Now, both of those guys weren't politicians.
Guess what you're missing?
Oh,
Alan Keyes.
Alan Keyes, another one.
Brilliant.
Right, exactly.
Brilliant mind.
I forgot about Alan Keyes, another one who was not a Washington, D.C. alumni, okay? Now we got Trump comes along. Every single one of them who they fear is going to come in and overturn their little business, their business club.
Yep.
They do everything possible. Now they're dragging Trump's wife into the picture, okay? I mean, these people have no morals whatsoever.
and let people know at home that Trump didn't draw first on that whole wife picture thing.
No.
Someone from Cruz's party, and Cruz denied it. It's not from us.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
All
Like
right.
he
And
denied.
that's why he calls him Lion Ted.
Yeah.
Someone from Cruz's party posts a nude photo of Trump's wife.
Right.
When I think she was in GQ maybe, I
That was-
forget.
yeah.
Years ago.
Right.
And beautiful picture, by the way.
I thought it was.
Now,
I thought,
and the caption said, "Would you want this woman as first lady?" I look at the picture, like, yeah,
absolutely,
absolutely.
Right. Right. Do
You know what I mean? What a low blow.
Yeah. I mean.
Now, I want to bring up something. You mentioned Facebook changing emails earlier.
Yes. WikiLeaks.
Okay, I
dumped
didn't know that.
Yeah. WikiLeaks. Go ahead.
You know what else I actually read too? Google Corporation
Yes.
was trying to
Help overthrow Syria with Hillary Clinton's help. Hillary Clinton looked to Google for help to overthrow Assad in Syria.
And-
People out there don't understand how when you're dealing with Hillary Clinton or the Clintons, you're dealing with pure evil. And now along comes
But
Google.
not only that, though, but it's Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
Because they're both in concert with these mega corporations.
Right, exactly. And what is Google? One of the biggest media giants, if not the biggest in the world. Okay, and anything people read online, oh my God, that's going to be true. Well, Google was going to help in the overthrow of Assad. I mean,
To get a corporation involved in geopolitical activities like that,
right is scary.
that
It's
means
very
what? The
scary.
politicians can't do it themselves?
Yeah, right.
Are you serious? While Obama is doing the tango in Argentina, while Brussels burns.
Yeah. Right. And she comes out and she says, we need to stand with our people in Brussels. I mean, that's your idea of how to handle ISIS. Because if people don't realize, too, that she was part of the administration that grew ISIS. ISIS came out of exactly the politics of the Obama/Clinton administration.
Yeah. Now here's the absurdity, and it dovetails off what you just said because you're alluding to the political correctness and the placate.
I have no political correctness.
No.
Yeah.
Of that statement.
Yeah.
Let's placate. We need to just stand with them. Let's just stand with them.
Right.
Stand with Brussels. Placate. It'll go away, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I heard. I don't know. I couldn't verify this, but I heard that someone in England posted something nasty about Muslims online in the wake of the Brussels bombing attacks. They were arrested.
Yeah.
Arrested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're not even allowed to vent because you're angry because people just lost their lives, innocent people, and there are heretical jihadists who are doing this. And if you vent, even though you didn't kill anybody, you didn't bomb anybody, you're standing up for the innocent, you're going to jail. That's basically what that's saying. That is like the thought police. Yeah. That is like Orwell and Aldous Huxley. That is more absurdity, and I believe it is more indication of madness, and I'm going to zoom out again like I like to do and look at the whole overall picture. There is a madness slowly gripping this world right now that is not pretty. It's not going to end really well. It's going to be very bumpy. There is going to be a loud pop moment. I'm not sure when that's going to be, where that's going to be. I have no idea. That's just my prediction. It's my speculation. And we're living in a world where in Sierra Leone, Africa, they are finding diamonds in their backyard because it is mineral and nutrient rich. They are finding gold in their backyard. They are one of the most lucrative nations on this planet. But yet, their currency is devalued 5 times less than ours because the powers that be deem it that way.
Yeah.
That is the inequality that exists in this world right now. And to be quite frank with you, if they accelerated and increased the currency in Sierra Leone, the valuation, it could possibly make France a third world nation overnight because of it. That's how rich they are. They have diamonds and gold. You see what people are doing over gold on Wall Street right now. Well, the prices just been
gold
going
and silver, right?
over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
You see diamonds are still holding their value.
right.
They're finding them in their backyard. So do you see the absurdity of the world in which we live? Because a bunch of people got together in a boardroom and they determined it. And they positioned themselves in points of power. And again, it goes back to the merchant bankers who bail out the governments in times of war so they get government in their back pockets, going back to World War I, when this whole thing happened. When the Rockefellers and J.P. Morgans of the world bailed out the U.S. government in World War I, so now they have a voice in our government. Mm-hmm. That's why the bailouts occurred. That's why we might see a ban of money. They're going to ban cash one day, perhaps. They're already having those discussions, and they're going to disguise it as another bank bailout because they're going to have negative interest rates. So banks are going to be able to collect the fees, and this is all determined by people up here. And this is, whenever the people at home hear in the news, the establishment, this is why people are shaking in their boots in the establishment that Trump might get in because he's not a member of that secret club, but he happens to be rich.
Right. Well, to that point, one of the things that Trump kind of, in a backhanded way, threatened Ted Cruz, knock it off about families, or I'll start saying stuff about your wife.
Spill the beans, yeah, you said that.
Okay, well,
that's childish.
It's childish, but somebody went to the efforts and they posted her police report online.
You're kidding.
No, and it's not pretty. Okay, but let's take that off the table. Okay,
I didn't even know she was at a police
People
report.
don't even know that she works for Goldman Sachs. Okay, and she's taking a leave of absence while he's running for the presidency. Okay, now do you think that when Bernie Sanders is talking about Wall Street, how they control our government, do you think for 1 minute if Ted Cruz gets in, he's going to ruin the company his wife works for, and anything that he
just got another Bush affiliated endorsement,
Yeah,
third one.
Right, after his brother, George W. Bush, the former president, said he has no use for Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz worked for him. That's where he met his wife, Heidi. And he said, I have no use for Ted Cruz, doesn't even like him, okay? And then, of course, Cruz said, well, I still like, President Bush because that's where I met my wife and blah, blah, blah. And, they both had worked for...
It's so disgusting.
It's so incestuous. When you start...
I feel like we're in a schoolyard.
When you start, connecting the dots, okay, it's scary. Now,
Human nature right now is scary.
Now, not that there's anything bad with it, okay, but did you know that the head of the CIA is a Muslim? John Brennan.
I didn't know.
He's a converted Muslim. Okay, and nothing wrong with it.
When you mentioned,
okay.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, these are things to which the American people don't know. And John Brennan, in my opinion, is one of the worst CIA directors we've ever had. Okay, so and people ought to take a look at the documentary out there called Spy Masters. It's on Netflix and it's on HBO. It's called Spy Masters. It's well worth watching. It's a documentary about the last several people that headed up the CIA and their opinions of
None of this, everything that we're discussing here, do you see, it's like rapid fire.
Right. I want to say one thing before we leave, okay, because we're down to our last 3 minutes. Wednesday, Speaker Paul Ryan addressed the Ways and Means Committee of Congress, one of the most important committees of Congress, as they are tasked with the responsibilities of budget recommendations, writing tax code, and much more. The reason for his speech was to address the attitude today of politics. He stressed that politics has become a vicious and threatens to undermine our government and its institutions. He essentially blamed the people's frustration with the government has all to do with the words of the people currently running for president. This is just another example of how little the Washington aristocracy thinks of the people that they serve. To blame today's attitudes towards Washington on a handful of people running for office is similar to blaming the horse that ran away and ignore who failed to lock the barn door. Donald Trump has merely pointed out how much our institutions and the people that run them have failed us. Paul Ryan and his gang failed to see what we see, how Lois Lerner turned the power of the IRS onto a select group of U.S. citizens whose political beliefs didn't align with hers and the president's. And after so many citizens gave evidence to Congress as to what she and the IRS had done to them, she was allowed to walk away unpunished. Yet throughout the years, the IRS has ruined American citizens' lives forever without any remorse. How illegal immigrants are not only allowed to remain here in the United States, but are given perks free that U.S. citizens have to work. Failing to remember that we are all products of immigrants, immigrants that had to wait years and follow the law in order to partake of the American dream. Our children graduate college with financial burdens they may have to spend a third of their lives paying back, while illegal immigrants are handed all the perks free without any strings attached. A government that throws our young men and women into wars, breaking their bodies forever, then arresting them for doing a job they were ordered to do. We see how a Wesley Snipes is imprisoned for failure to pay taxes, yet Congressman Charles Rangel of New York is merely censured and allowed to keep his job as a congressman for doing the same thing. How General Petraeus is given a 2-year sentence for sharing his emails with his lover, yet Hillary Clinton, who lied to the parents of the dead victims of Benghazi, put state secrets on her private server, used her power as Secretary of State to further her private foundation for more than $40 million, is allowed to run for president unpunished. And Paul Ryan and the rest of the elites that burden us with their lies wonders why the American people are aligning themselves with the words of Donald Trump. That is more evidence of just how out of touch both the Democrats and Republicans are and how little they care about how we feel. Donald Trump has merely turned the light onto something we refuse to believe could really be happening, that our current system has failed because of the people will not do, they'll do everything they can do to control it for their own personal gain and care less how we, the people, feel. Donald Trump could just as well be Mr. Anyone because the light has been turned on with the facts, and as we all know, facts are stubborn things. I want to thank you for watching us. Tune in again next week for Bogy and Dave, and you can catch us also on YouTube. Anyway, that